In Chapter 3, we'll talk about federalism and the roles that different levels of government play in a number of public policy issues. The central question we will deal with is, who has the power? First, let's talk about what federalism is. You can look at it in a couple of different ways. As we mentioned in Chapter 2, federalism literally is the structure of government set up in the Constitution. It is the division of authority between the national government and the subnational units of government. Figuratively, and more interestingly, federalism also involves the relationship between those entities. There is inherent friction in this system of government because the Constitution, given all its brilliance, only provides vague and contradictory guidance about how power should flow through the levels of government. On one hand, the Constitution's necessary and proper clause gives Congress the power to do what is necessary to carry out its powers. On the other hand, the 10th Amendment provides that the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved for the states respectively, or to the people. There is conflict there. And when you add the many problems that the founders could not have anticipated, for example, who, if anyone, can control commerce over the internet, it's clear that those conflicts and the resulting frictions return us to the central question about federalism. Who has the power? This is an enduring question, one that is as old as the United States itself. It's been a contentious issue since the founding of our nation. The ideological debate over national supremacy versus the states has had profound implications, even leading to the Civil War. While slavery played a role in leading to the Civil War, the larger issue revolved around questions of whether this was a national or state issue. Still today, there is vigorous debate over which level of government has the power on a number of critical public policy issues. And what we're finding is that the levels of government have trouble staying in their lanes and staying focused on what they ultimately have power over. We see that struggle in a number of issues we're dealing with today. It's the reason you see states like Arizona and California pass immigration-related laws, as well as laws that legalize marijuana in Colorado and Washington and Oregon and Alaska and the District of Columbia in direct opposition to federal law. We've also seen the national government wade into domestic relations issues such as same-sex marriage that are traditionally the responsibility of states. Courts are frequently called on to intervene to provide answers, but the reality is that there is no enduring answer to this critical question. The U.S. Supreme Court has the final say on where to draw the line over federal and state powers, but the court's interpretations change over the years. So the bottom line, indeed, one of the beauties of our system of government and one of the mysteries of political science is that each generation gets to struggle with this question and tell us what is correct and allowable. So we're going to take a quick look at some of the current issues in federalism, particularly marijuana regulation, immigration, and same marriage. We'll start with what I call the haze of marijuana regulation. Federal law is that all pot sales are illegal. The question is about enforcement, and the federal government has sent out conflicting signals about enforcement. So states are moving forward with their own efforts related to marijuana. Recreational marijuana is now legal in Alaska, Colorado, Oregon, and Washington, and in 23 states, including California, have legalized medical marijuana. Local governments are also trying to get into the marijuana regulation arena, particularly by trying to regulate, limit, or outright ban pot dispensaries. Same conflict with immigration. Since the national government has done little to reform immigration policy, states are taking their own steps. Most notable was Arizona's law, one of the toughest immigration laws passed by a state. The U.S. Supreme Court struck down major provisions of that law, saying that immigration is a federal issue. On same-sex marriage, that is an area that is long believed to be the responsibility of the states. But the U.S. Congress passed the Defense of Marriage Act in 1996 that denied benefits and recognition to same-sex couples. The Supreme Court has overturned that law and has made same-sex marriage legal nationwide. One of the ways the national government encourages the states to do their bidding is through federal grants. Here are a few key terms you should know. Categorical grant. That's a federal grant to a state or local government for a specific program or project. A block grant. It's a federal grant that provides funds for a general functional area, such as criminal justice or mental health programs. Block grants usually have fewer strings attached than categorical grants, thus giving state and local governments more flexibility in using their funds. Federal mandates, special conditions attached to federal grants. These mandates often generate controversy because they often don't come with sufficient funding to allow states or local governments to carry out the programs or projects. Underlying all these issues is this: should we let the national government have a one-size-fits-all approach, or should we allow states to adapt to their particular circumstances and decide what is best for their residents? So finally, we return to the question, who has the power? That question hasn't been answered in an enduring way in more than 200 years, and likely won't be answered with certainty for the foreseeable future. Courts are going to continue to play a significant role in deciding which level of government has control over these issues. As I mentioned earlier, your generation will get to address this core question. As circumstances change, as courts change, as new issues come up, and interpretations be different, you will struggle with this question the same way my generation did. Thank you for listening to this lecture, and good luck in your quiz.